No.
Right. Yes, we are live on YouTube and Facebook. We will be live here in a moment on Instagram. The old Instagram delay. All right, we are live.
Yay.
Woo-hoo. Yay. Yes. Yay. We are here to talk about, is that anxiety even yours?
Anxiety. Why you're feeling it? Is it actually yours? Are you collecting it up from other people?
Yeah, it is a very popular vibration right now. I don't know if I know a single person who doesn't run it to some degree.
Right.
And it's kind of an epidemic, I think.
Yeah, it's paralyzing. I mean, anxiety isn't my worst problem, but it's definitely like when you're in an anxious place, it's pretty noisy. It's pretty crowded in your system. You can't get anything done. It's, it takes over.
Yeah, I mean, it gives you a nervous stomach. It's horrible for your health, your nervous system. It increases cortisol, especially for those with female bodies. The cortisol will kill you from the inside out when you run too much of it, besides giving you belly fat. Yeah, no, anxiety. I don't subscribe to it, just so you all know. I do not subscribe to it. And I do want to talk a little bit about how you can also become senior to that energy so that you can not only manage it, but maybe just obliterate it.
Yeah, not be so overcome. And, I sometimes hear people talk about anxiety like it's the weather. Like it's just, this is happening. I have no choice. I have to deal with this. I'm just anxious and that's how I am. And maybe I'm being a little cold, but it's really tough to be around anxious people because they're constantly trying to hand it to you. So everyone's trying to hand like hot potato, the anxiety, like, no, here, take it. And people are very entitled. Okay, I'm making another loaded statement.
Three's coming in hot today.
I find that anxiety is one of those things that people feel a little bit entitled to. Like, excuse me, VIP treatment, head of the table, my anxiety is here. Everybody, please acknowledge it, mitigate it, help it, wait on it. Waiter, please, my anxiety needs this, and this. And it's a very noisy and very like public thing right now. Everyone's anxious, anxiety's everywhere. And for good reason. I mean, there's a lot where the human experience is so radically different than it was 100 years ago. 24-hour news, constant doom and gloom, social media, your phone. I get it why people are anxious all the time. But the big premise of today is some of that anxiety doesn't even belong to you. You're just absorbing it. So
yeah. Well, and what you're saying in that is that when a person is running a lot of anxiety, they're so in that anxiety that they're not recognizing their impact on other people. And you're speaking to what's going on the other end. And so what 3 is really maybe proclaiming is, hey, if you're an anxious person, recognize that it's not only affecting you. It's not only affecting you, it's affecting everyone else around you. And maybe that's a motivator. If you can't seem to want to manage it on your own or want to conquer it, if you will, then maybe do it out of your love and kindness for those around you and the humanity of others.
I mean, I'm guilty as charged. Like I get overstimulated by like too many sounds in my house. But
your roommates.
Right. My roommates, my husband and 2 kids, so I get it. I get it when you let your own issues blast out on other people. I'm guilty. I'm not a saint. And then, also the flip side is people I think are starting to just shut down and retreat. Like, I'm just going to go numb. I'm going to stop even opening, looking at the news, stop participating. Oh, I have social anxiety. I'm not going to go to anything. I'm just going to kind of turtle up and give in to like, the world is too much. I'm going to just peace out.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's no way to live life. That's no fun.
Right.
Yeah. I'm all about engaging with life, engaging with others, and let it be messy. Let it be kind of crunchy, because that's actually what really makes life so special and so exciting. I mean, if there's no friction ever, that's some boring life there.
I mean, how weird is it to be human? Like on Earth, like there's people living in abject poverty and despair, and there's people that are living in complete opulence and abundance and everything in between. There's people with totally healthy bodies. People are sick their whole life. I mean, we live in this crazy meat suit on Earth. And it's just like, here we go. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, and speaking to that, I've always said, and I will always hold to this, that Earth is a dichotomy planet. It's all about exploring the dichotomies, the yin, the yang, the winter, summer, the male, the female. All of the dichotomies are present and abundant and readily available here on Earth. And in my opinion, take it or leave it for anybody who's watching this, we are all here reincarnating over and over and over, sometimes ad nauseum, again and again and again, so we can learn how to have the full range of human experiences. And I'm not saying that, and I have never proclaimed to be saintly. I do not teach saints. I do not teach people to be good all the time, right? Be happy all the time. I don't sell happiness.
Yeah.
I'm like anti-marketing right now. I don't sell, you're not going to be happy.
Listen up, everybody. Don't come here if you just want to be good or happy.
Yeah. Because that's just so impractical. That's not what this planet is all about. You can't be happy all the time. You can't be good all the time. You can't be a saint all the time, because it is a dichotomy planet. And I teach what I call havingness. Can you have the full range? Can you have happiness and joy and abundance and ecstasy and bliss? And can you have depression and sadness and rage and poverty and hard times? Can you have that full range? Because here's the truth, and I don't always like the truths that I've discovered, so don't kill the messenger.
Yeah.
But here's the truth. The degree to which you are okay with the negative end of the human spectrum, let's say you can only have sadness to a -3. I can only be -3 depressed. If I go past that, I start to beat myself up. I'm a bad person. I can't don't do that. Pretend you're okay. I'm fine. I'm not sad. I'm not going to experience that at all. -3, you got to stay right there, right here.
Like not letting yourself get more sad, or not letting I don't want to look at that. That's too sad. I can only feel this amount of sadness.
But if you can only go to a -3, the only degree of happiness you can have, +3. Freaking boring.
Yeah.
Right? A whole lifetime of just right here.
Right. Just vibing and
kind of up and down. And so it really is, for those of you who are watching this, I would say one of the purposes of life, a big purpose for pretty much everyone on the planet, is, can you start to widen this range? Because the more you can have either end of the spectrum, the more that you can have, the opposite end. Right? And so where I do want to start with that with regards to anxiety is, I don't want to punish anxiety or make it a bad thing. Right? Sure, we kind of, it is socially, we're going to place it kind of on the negative in the spectrum, because we did just start off saying it's bad for the nervous system, it's bad for your cortisol, blah, 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 blah. And so you don't want to resist anxiety.
Yeah.
As if you do, then the opposite of anxiety, I would say, would be ecstatic bliss, right? Or peace and calm. And so, if you resist that, then, the other end of the spectrum, you're not going to be able to have the same degree of peace or calm that maybe you'd really like to have, right?
Right.
So this talk today about anxiety, or some of the pointers that I want to put forth, is not coming from a place of resistance. Right now, you guys may be resisting your anxiety, but that's not where I'm speaking from. So I really want to make that very clear.
Yeah.
I don't resist anxiety, and as a matter of fact, I don't resist it in others either. I find it kind of endearing, like, oh, I can tell you really care. Usually that's what that means, and so this isn't coming from a place of resistance, because to set the foundation for today, you really have to have anxiety to master anxiety. Right? Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer, right? You gotta embrace it, love it, learn it. Because if you are a person who just wants peace, I just want peace. I just want some peace in my life. And if that is you, who can't ever seem to find peace, maybe instead of seeking peace, you got to look at the other end of the spectrum. What am I resisting at the other end?
Right.
And resistance of. And a great teaching here at Boulder Psychic Institute that is the premise of a lot of our work is, if you resist it in others, you're probably resisting it in yourself. Resist it in others. Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm on board with this. I'm curious about your thoughts of like, does that sound like an emotional roller coaster of like, I'm high as a kite, I'm positive 8 now, oh shit, I'm negative 8, I'm positive 8, like maybe some people would be like, I don't want big swings. Like, okay, I get it. If I can only allow myself to be so sad, then I can only allow myself to be so happy. But can I manage like with these huge ranges in the human experience?
Well, and that would be what I would call as the great lie. That is the great lie, right? And religious touts it, medicine touts it. A lot of our big institutions are touting it right now, and have for centuries, that you're only supposed to be at one end of the spectrum, and you're supposed to manage it, and you're supposed to function according to a certain set of social rules. And we need to be able to control everybody in those rules. So you guys need to stay here in this minimal range, because outliers are deemed out of control. You have the ability to control yourself. And my big question as a psychic, when I look at that, and I'm going to get on my soapbox here, is really like, whose control are you going to be out of if you're swinging from positive 10 to negative 10?
Well, and often people
to control you.
Yeah. And people, one time we were at one of those local farms in the fall, Anderson Farms.
Yeah,
and we're in line to get on the wagon, and it's hot and it's crowded. And there's one toddler just crying and complaining. And I had this moment of insight thinking, how hard is it to be 3? Like, this kid is speaking the truth of like, why are we standing here? This is dumb. I want to move around. Why are we doing this? And all of us are like, shh, no, be quiet. Stop speaking the truth. Okay. Yeah. And like, same with like someone who might be super sad, super angry, super anxious of like, this is not okay. Whatever this is, like, there's a lot of things that are not okay right now. This is not okay. So then and then there's nowhere for that energy to go of like, yeah, you're right. It's not okay. Or it did matter. And now, it's, and then there's like this disconnect of like, yeah, shh, quiet. Stop saying that out loud. You're making it worse.
Yeah. And where does that stem from? A lack of education on how to process your pain.
Yeah.
We are not educated culturally, socially, how to process our pain. And that's what Boulder Psychic Institute is all about. The whole program is, how do you process your pain? How do you get out of pain? Right?
Well, and how do you
do with it besides shove it under a rug or pretend it's not there?
Right. And the pain of the world, the pain you can't even do anything about it. How many wars are happening right now? A lot.
Yeah.
And you can't, can I do anything to contribute to that? I don't know. it's a little bit. But yeah, these heavy things that we hold, like, what do I do with that? What do I do with it's not okay?
Mhm. Yeah. So, like that toddler, I mean, I'm not saying that everybody has to run around and be a toddler in every moment, right? I have been educated on the social rules of engagement, and I know how to behave appropriately according to the social rules, and I can play that game. I can play that game, right? But I don't have to become that game.
Yeah.
I'm not so controlled by that game that I don't I'm not afraid to break the rules,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm not afraid to live life a bit differently. And so what that means for me is, yeah, on a live right now, I'm not going to be like, so depressed and sad. I'm not going to show up like I'm a freaking mess because, I'm on the roller coaster, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, well, I'm going to show up and manage that, right? Because I know how to process my pain. I'm just going to put that to the side for just a minute. I'm going to do my job, right? And then later I can pick that back up. But that is an extreme level of energetic maturity, right? Which came from 30 years of practice, right? 30 years of practice. I can kind of pull it together when I want to. Okay? Maybe not perfectly, but I can. And so that lie, that swing up and down, there's even diagnoses for that, which I'm not going to say the word, right, that has been deemed negative. And I just want to question that. And that's kind of coming back to the whole title of it all. Is that your truth?
Mm-hmm.
That you truly be out of control if you can go to the extreme highs and also the extreme lows? I found for myself, because I'm not in resistance to them, I'm not as much in resistance to them as I was 30 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
That I actually have a lot more control, choice over where I want to be. I have more freedom of movement, right? I don't get stuck at any point as frequently as I used to because of a lack of resistance. I don't resist it. I'm more about having the human range.
Right. Of acknowledging I am sad, I am anxious.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to use tools and support to be in this valley till I learn what I need to learn and then leave it, assuming that it is your anxiety.
So the reframe of today is, you know how you can't say homeless people anymore? So people experiencing unhousedness, or how do we do this politically correct? Come on, 3.
I'm unhoused.
Person experiencing homeless, or experience. But anyway, at some point it was, what'd you say?
Yeah, it's like the point is you're not just labeling them as you're a homeless person. Yeah.
Great. So at the expense of sounding ultra left, which I am not, I'm kind of more in the middle with things, we are going to rebrand our feelings and start to say, I am experiencing depression. My body is experiencing sadness right now. My body is experiencing joy. And I really want to make a strong case for rebranding that, because just like the title says, it might not be yours.
Right? I know. I mean, everybody's experienced that where you're like fine and then you get around someone who's having a super bad day and all of a sudden you're in a bad mood too.
Mm-hmm.
You like caught it.
Yeah. It might not be yours. So one of the other ways in which I have been able to acquire this place where I can have this freedom of movement, most of the time, not perfect, right? Where I can have this freedom of choice. Oh, I want to be up here right now. Oh, I'm in some sadness. Oh yeah, I'm going to choose that right now because I'm not working. I'm not on a live call, right? Mm-hmm. I have choice with that up and down. The other secret to acquiring that, the other secret is really reframing it and making sure that I'm not always I'm not labeling any experience as mine until I've actually assessed. The psychic looking at the energy and my students will know exactly what tool you can use to do that, right? Looking at the energy, is this mine? Is this not mine? Is this mine? Is this not mine? Because if it's not my energy, I will just simply get rid of it. Big truth in life. I'm dropping lots of truth bombs today. So write this down, people, right? One of the biggest truths, and I think almost every religious institution says this, but I'm going to say it with less punishment and more neutrality than you might hear it through that dogma, which is that you can only change what's yours. You can only change what's yours. Okay.
Right.
So the way you apply that on energy terms, I can't change your problem. I can't fix your problem. The way most people interpret that is more on the physical level. 3, you have a problem. I can't change it for you. I can't fix it for you.
Right.
But I can love you. I can support you. Right. And that's a great starting point for that teaching, that truth. But if you really want to take it to the highest degree, it is recognizing, oh, I can only change my energy, my vibe. If it's not my vibe, I can't change it. I can't fix it. I can't solve it. So if I have an interaction with you and maybe you're angry about somebody, or something, and if I take on that anger because I have been socially conditioned that if I love 3, I need to take on her energy because that's what you do in love and that's how we have been programmed in.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, if anybody takes the Enlightenment program, you will learn all about how to vibrate in the true vibration of love, not this messy transference that I'm talking about that most people do out there. But let's say I do that. I take it on, right? Most people will take on that anger. They'll process it, think it's their own, try to fix it, why am I so angry? Why am I so pissed off? Why do I want to murder that person? Why do I, and they'll
want to fix that person to just make that vibe go away.
Well, and most people are totally unconscious to it. They don't even recognize, 3 was angry. And now 5 minutes later after our lunch date, I'm angry. That most people connect those dots. They walk away totally unconscious, totally duped. I'm angry. I'm angry. Right.
Yeah.
And they'll try to fix it, solve it. What do I need to do? Go into a self-therapy session. Like, why am I having these thoughts? Why am I having this rage? Why?
Right.
Why never solves anything. But they'll go into that whole head trip about it. And instead of recognizing, I just took on 3's anger because I was conditioned, programmed that if I love her, I'm supposed to take it on.
Yeah.
I can't solve her problem. Energetically either, I can't solve her problem. So the only thing to do with other people's energy, the only option with other people, you have lots of options, but the only thing to do with other people's energy that will actually help you feel more sane, more grounded, more in control of your emotions is to let it go. Just let it go, right? Because again, you can only control what's yours. You can only change what's yours. So if I'm angry and it's truly mine, and I've used my psychic tool that I've learned at Boulder Psychic Institute. Is it mine? Is it not mine? And then I use the other tools that I learned at Boulder Psychic Institute that says, it's not mine. I'm going to let it go, and I clear it. And then if all that's left is mine, I can control it.
I can deal with my own stuff.
Not only deal, I can rock it. I can have that freedom up and down. I can choose. I have choice.
Why
which is what I really wants.
Yeah. Why do you think there's certain people or situations that you're more or less porous? You can be around someone and they're like really going through, they're in some kind of headspace. You're like, whoa, no, take care. Hope it works. And you're just, you're totally neutral. Like, well, gosh. And then some people you can feel yourself totally slip in and be like, oh, I'm matching them. We're all in the soup together now. And it's like, and it feels like trying to catch yourself from going down a slide. Like you're like gripping the side, like, hey, no, get sucked in. How come some people you can be so chill and then some people you get totally sucked into their stuff?
Well, and I love that you're bringing up that question, 3, because the way I oftentimes speak to this transference that happens so much out there. I mean, we are just messy human beings. We are so messy as a species. I walk around as a psychic. I'm like, whoa, look at this and that. It's so sloppy, right? And you know what's ironic about that is somehow we're so energetically sloppy, but we expect to be like so physically put together.
Mm-hmm. And to be calm and collect and
I'm okay.
Acting normal.
You just hear the ticking time of people as they're rolling around. But if you will, I do speak to it like, oh, somebody's energy got into your space. And for those more advanced practitioners, for maybe those who have done energy work a little bit, or maybe contemplated this a little bit more, maybe a little bit more maturity, you're never a victim. You're never a victim. And the reason why in some certain situations you're going to fall into the lower vibrations or fall into that energy with somebody else, like fall into Three's anger because she was angry one day at lunch or whatever, right? I used to hate it when I'd get around gossipy people, and then I would just totally just unconsciously blah, 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 and I'd be like, oh, man, and I walk away, oh, I wish I didn't do that. Oh, shame, 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 bad, 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 guilt, guilt, guilt.
Have you heard the reframe of it's not gossip, we're aligning our values? So my husband will be like, I need to align my values with you. I'll be like, oh, let's hear it.
Oh, that's so cute. I love that. Mystery that with my husband too. So Three and I have the same make and model husband.
You know, I met Danny and I was like, oh, I have that same husband.
Yeah, he likes to align values.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. In kind of a Woody Allen comical kind of way. Where was I? Oh, so you're never a victim. Okay. And the reason why we fall into those vibrations is because you have an energy within you, okay, that is not your truth, not aligned with you, that gets activated or triggered when you get around an angry person or a gossipy person that has you then fall into that, right? So these triggers within ourselves, okay, these triggers, they're not your energy, okay? They're not your energy, okay? They're lies that are in your space that you have been conditioned around or programmed to hold, right? I'm just an anxious person. I'm just a nervous person. You know, I am worried about you all the time because I love you, right? That the lies that can, when they do get triggered, they're like these little bombs within a person's energetic space. And when they get activated, they become like magnets. Right. Heat-seeking magnets, and they just want to find anybody with the same energy, and they'll just attract.
Yeah. Okay. So that bomb will keep going off.
Yeah.
Until I deal with it.
Well, and most people don't deal with it by clearing it until they learn tools here at Boulder Psychic Institute to do that. Most people, what they do is they align their values and they just, okay, I will validate your trigger and pretend that your trigger is okay. If you validate my trigger and pretend that my trigger is okay, and we're just going to fall down the same deep, dark well together.
Right.
Yeah. And that's the subconscious game that people out there are doing. And if that's you, it's okay. Go gentle on yourself, right? You don't need to judge yourself. You become aware of things when you become aware of things.
Well, and I think family systems are the perfect storm of you, inherit patterns. You may be programmed by a parent or caretaker on accident. I mean, nothing says sloppy like your family, you know, like, you know, like, okay, one of my kiddos is kind of tends to be very, very normal teenage, moody and kind of depressive. And it just lights me up, and I know that. And I'm like, okay, the goal here is to just let her have her emotions. And then I keep myself on this side and I don't try and fix it. But the trigger is like, what if she doesn't grow out of this? What if what else can I do? I need to fix it. I'm her mom, and then the mess happens, even though I know better, or like when you say something and you're like, oh, that was my mom, just 100%, like word for word.
Yeah. The beautiful thing about families is we, on a deep, 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 deep soul level, pick our families because they have similar triggers.
Right. But then your nervous system learns a pattern. Yeah. And it's our job to unlearn all this and use tools, but that's easier said than done. I mean, any parent is like, yeah, got it. I know. And yesterday I blew up and yelled at my kid or my mom, like.
Yes. And the way to do it is actually so simple. The tools here at BPI are so simple, but yes, they can feel like moving a mountain to really change some of these patterns. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's because it can be ingrained so deep, because just like what Nick said in his comment, a lot of people, anxiety starts from difficult childhoods, or, learning some of these worry or anxiety loops from parents. Yeah. And so it's deep in there. And I always say you acquire 80% of your programming from the adults around you by the time you're 3. By the time you're 3. Right? So I look at my son who's 7. I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I can program some of these things out of him because some of that stuff's already in there. Darn it, oh, okay. Right.
Yeah. So I kind of want to talk, like, most people I think know that, like this other comment from Sheila, like, her friend comes over, vents all this stuff, and then she's like, I'm in it now too. And yeah, you can totally, like, I applaud for asking your friend, setting a boundary. But what are, like, so I had this phase where it was during COVID. I was in my own drama. I could not handle other people's drama for a while. And was like, I don't have space to hear about any of your troubles. And I look back on that with guilt now, of like, I just wasn't able to hold space for someone else's stuff, for a difficult phase they were going through. What's the difference between, setting a boundary and being able to hold space for someone, and being able to okay, I can hear about this, but maybe for X amount of time, and then I need to move off of it. But it's so easy to get so sloppy with other people's anxiety, with other people's emotions. It's hard to know when is it boundary time and when is it energetic boundary time, or both. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. And, it makes me think of Mel Robbins, the let them theory. Mm-hmm. So I've been teaching let them for 30 years. Okay. This is the let them theory is nothing new. As a matter of fact, she's super famous, so I can punch up a little bit, she's definitely making more money than we are here at BPI, bigger following. So I'm going to punch up, right? You don't punch down, right? But if y'all want to actually learn how to apply let them, not just intellectually, like how she's presenting it, where you think let them, and you mentally masturbate with how do I let them, and I guess I let me, and I let everyone. If you actually want the actual tools to really be able to implement that through and through to the highest degree possible on a spiritual level, that's what we teach here at Boulder Psychic Institute. And for all of my students, y'all know exactly what I'm about to talk about, right? Which is having your bubble.
Right.
Right? Having your bubble. Can you have your bubble around you? Because if you can have your bubble, right, you have your personal space, and there's a specific visual for it, but you got to come take classes to learn. Mm-hmm. Right? There's a specific visual for that. Then you have your sovereignty within, right? And you can really, really through and through, not just think this, not just intellectualize this, not just, pretend, you can really set the energy of let them.
Yeah.
Right? Because I have my sovereignty. Your energy is not going to come in here and affect me and annoy me or make me feel angry or have that level of transference where now I'm depressed because you were depressed.
Right.
And if I can maintain that sovereignty, which takes practice, for those students who are on listening right now, y'all know this is a practice and it can take years to really get good at this. Then you can really let anyone kind of be where they're at, right? And that's the energetic visual for setting a boundary. This is my space.
Yeah.
Anything from here in is my domain. You don't get to come in here unless maybe I let you, right? But if you can set that boundary energetically, then when Sheila talks to her friend and says, hey, I'm not interested in this conversation anymore, right? It's going to have a gentler vibe,
Yeah.
more of a nurturing vibe, because I'm nurturing myself first and I'm role modeling nurturing energy to this person, versus probably maybe what happened with Sheila. And it looks like she's saying, I did apologize. Because what probably happened, Sheila, and I say this with lots of love and compassion, right? You probably came out of your bubble and said, please stop that right now, right? And energetically, it probably felt pretty ucky for Sheila because she left her bubble.
Right. I mean, yeah.
That person's bubble or their space to set a boundary. But that's not how, and she's laughing, haha. So that's not how you set a boundary, right? You stay within your space and you say, and energetically, it's no, this is my
I'm
bubble.
staying on my side of the fence.
Yeah, my side of
I'm not gonna go. But I mean, Sheila, we also say a lot at the BPI. We're aiming for 70%. Like C's get degrees. Like, you're a human. You might have been having a low day. Like, it's also like, yeah, you're gonna have days where you're like, yeah. I have all the psychic tools in the world, and I'm not a Zen master, and this person is driving me crazy.
And that's okay. And from time to time, it's I like humanness, right? And and if you want to have that as a practice, like how would I set a boundary? You don't think it, you don't try to feel it, you don't act on it first. The first thing you always do as a psychic or spiritual practitioner is you work your spiritual energy first, because the secret to life is as above, so below, which means when you set your spiritual energy, your physical reality follows. So if you can set your bubble, the visual of that bubble, the energy of it, then the thoughts will follow. The words will effortlessly follow. You won't have to overanalyze. It'll just come out with grace. The emotions, the sensations, your physical experience, and then your reality will follow. But we're so conditioned, we're so programmed that you have to overthink everything. And that's the primary source. I think, therefore I am. Bullshit. No. You just are spirit.
Yeah.
You just are. It doesn't come from thinking. Thinking is secondary. And so Sheila, if you're in that situation again, or anybody else who's listening, you might just, sometimes I kind of tune out when people go, bah, and they're psychically vomiting. I'll tune out because they're usually kind of on an endless loop repeating themselves anyway. Right. I'll focus on my bubble, get myself nice and grounded, right? Maybe find some amusement, right? A little bit of levity about the situation. And then because I've shifted my energy, right? And I didn't say what to visualize. You got to come take classes to learn that, right? But you reset your energy through some visuals, then it will be effortless. Oh, you know what? I'm going to give you like 3 more minutes, and then let's change this conversation.
Right? It's amazing how hard it is to verbally set a boundary.
Right.
Especially with a friend. Like,
Right. Well, I always say what I'm going to do instead of what I want them to do. That's one of the general rules on a a vocal, like speaking level, like, here's what I'm going to do. Right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So oftentimes with my kids, right? Oh, if I only give bedtime's always this thing, like where they just stall and stall and stall, and they never want to go to bed, read another book, right? And I only do tickle scratches for kids who are in their bed in the count of 3, like, and then they know, oh, mom's not gonna do the nighttime tickle scratch routine, if I don't get to bed right away. Right. And if they don't make it, oh, how sad, we can try again tomorrow. No punishment. It's just what I'm doing. Mm-hmm.
How about like the collective vibe? Like the news is so triggering, as they say, and like when I travel out of the country, I'm always struck by, oh, I thought I was doing so good at not absorbing the collective vibe. But like last year I was in Turkey, where people are aware of, I mean, everyone's aware of America, give me a break, but they don't know the news cycle. And they're like, oh, you're an American. Wow. Okay, great. And I realized, like, even though I was still reading the news there, but like, oh, I could just feel like, I don't feel the collective vibe anymore. It's like so light. And both my husband are like, oh my gosh, we're out of our drama bubble of our country. And then it's really fun to, then locals will tell you about their drama. And so you're like, what's going on? Oh, and you learn all about the drama that Turkish people are dealing with. And I kept thinking, you can feel like this back home, like just this, like, I'm aware of what's going on, but I don't actually feel this weight on my chest. And it starts, the collective vibe creeps up, and, where you're like, ugh, I didn't realize how heavy that was on me, of this constant doom and gloom. And it's not actually helping to absorb all that doom and gloom. Am I doing anything to participate, to pitch in, to be part of the good? Not if I'm paralyzed by the doom and gloom. So, because that's like a different thing, it's very acute if it's one human, if it's your kid, if it's your mom, if it's your best friend. But when it's like this heavy cloud of the collective vibe.
Yeah, well, I mean, the first thing I want to say about that is, for the same reason we pick our families, because they have the same triggers and we just magnetize to each other, and you're either going to amplify the triggers as a family together and make them bigger, or you're going to use that as a growth opportunity to neutralize those triggers, which is what we teach here at Boulder Psychic Institute. Same thing. You pick the culture, the country, the part of the country, because there's similar triggers. Right? Like, so there's certain parts of the US where I just don't, I can go into that bubble and be like, oh yeah, kind of like when you went to Turkey.
Right?
So we pick all of that so that it could potentially be a growth experience on a deep down soul level. But if you will, again, first question, right? Is this my anxiety? Is this not my anxiety? Is this my cultural drama, or is it not? Right? And first thing you always want to do is, if it's not, let it go. You're going to let it go. Right? And then, that way, then kind of what you experienced in Turkey, oh, I'm not in American drama soup right now. I'm in Turkish drama soup, and I don't have matching triggers with it. So it's easier for me to stay in my bubble. Right? And when you're in your bubble, right, then I always speak to it like it's being in the eye of the storm, where the whole world can be swirling around you like crazy, and there you are, zenned out.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And when you're zenned out, that's where you can reach out that olive branch, and you can be like, hey, you want to come be chill with me? You want to bring some of that peace?
Right.
And that's what you're able to do in Turkey. You're able to, tell me all about your drama. Oh, neat, right? And you're able to just stay in your bubble.
Oh, and people, they love to tell you about in each group. Oh, let me tell you about these people. Let me tell you about these people. They're messing everything up. And you're like, oh my gosh.
I think every human should, if possible, travel as much as they can to as many different cultures as they can, because it reduces ignorance. On a psychic level, if you had a past life in a certain country, you will start to collect up your energy from those countries too, just by visiting there, which is fun. And you do get to see other ways of doing things, which maybe our way here isn't always optimal. But if you will, then the practice becomes, well, how can I come back in American swamp, right? Or this soup where I have matching triggers, and how do I maintain my bubble, maintain my sovereignty, right? And there, you know, the tools for that we learn here at Boulder Psychic Institute, which is, you know, clearing those triggers, right? Blowing or matching pictures is what we call it here at Boulder Psychic Institute.
We have another good juicy question.
Ooh.
From Mariola. Is this Mariola from our Mariola?
Hi, Mariola.
So this is about like returning your energy. So if you're experiencing your mom's anxiety and like, I'm releasing this, does that hurt mom to give her energy back?
Well, and I don't know if she's saying giving it back. She's just saying release it, right?
Someone told me my depression is my mom's, but if I return it to her, would that hurt her? Oh, this is a mechanical question. That's interesting. What do you do with the energy that isn't yours?
Got it. Oh, I didn't read that second one. Yeah. So if you, excuse me, if you subscribe and you're actually utilizing the BPI tools to manage your energy and do the best you can to maintain some sovereignty as you go through life, when you release when you release other people's energies, like your mother's depression or your mother's anxiety, if you're using the tools that we teach here, then that energy will get transmuted, all healed up by kind of the cosmic powers that be, right? And sent back to that person as usable, healed up energy, transmuted. Okay. So when you, Mariola, if you're actually applying BPI's tools, and I don't think you're actually active in classes, and maybe you did one class maybe, so you might want to consider taking more classes. But when you apply the tools properly, appropriately, then it's not that you're giving your mother her depression back, you're giving her her energy back in a transmuted, neutralized form. And the great thing about that is most people who have been conditioned to believe that if you love somebody like your mom, then you're supposed to take on her problems, take on her depression, and carry that energy and process it, usually very unconsciously. This is kind of the collective unconscious programming. Then you are holding, let's say, Mariola, you're holding, 50, let me do a different number, 40% of your mom's energy. If you're holding 40% of your mom's depression, your mother now has only 60% of her energy. With 60% of her energy, she will solve her depression 60%, which is not a C. You do not get a degree. You will not be happy with a 60% solution.
Yeah.
You won't be happy with a 60% solution. So actually, by holding your mother's energy through this social programming that you're supposed to take on other people's problems because you love them, right? You're actually harming them. You're harming them.
Yeah.
You're disabling them because you're disempowering them. They have less of their power to solve their problem. So if you use the BPI tools appropriately, the way they're taught, and you release your mother's depression, that gets, if you're doing it the way we teach it here, that will automatically, by the cosmic forces that be, get transmuted, healed up, freshened up. 40%, your mom will get her energy back. Now she's going to have 100% of her energy to go to solve her problem. She's probably going to get a better solution than a 60% one at that point. Unless she spews it to somebody else.
Right. This runs both ways. Like, we don't want to get, this today is about like not absorbing other people's energy, but vice versa. The goal is also not to get into other people's space, which like, again, my kiddo is learning how to drive.
Oh
And
my
I don't care how long you've studied at the Boulder Psychic Institute, your tools are going to fall apart a little bit when you're in a car with a teenager driving. So I'm like aware of this, of like, yeah, I'm not neutral right now. And I don't think I'm going to make it across the finish line, but I'm going to keep myself in my bubble and put a, you know, really, this is my nonsense and I don't want it to get in her space. So in a perfect world, I would be zen and calm and using, you know, grounded, but it's like, a 16-year-old is driving. I'm not going to make it. But I'm like really conscious and really using like every tool to at least create a healthy barrier between us so that my fear and anxiety is not just blasting her. And I think it's working, you know, and I'm like deep breathing. And I'm like, according to my body, I'm being chased by a tiger right now.
And I just want to give you some grace here, 3, because I remember I was about 6 months pregnant with my first child, and my one of my good friends in Japan had a son who's 19 who was having a difficult time, and he came and visited and stayed with me for like a month. And I just decided, you know, let's get him out of his depression, and you know, I'm going to teach him how to drive.
Yes, super easy, super fun.
No, I think I almost miscarried like at least 100 times.
Oh, yeah, you're aware. You're like, okay,
I am going to lose.
I'm in like 911 emergency. My body is like in full flight or flight, and like you're like, okay, chill.
Well, and I some grace here.
You're not going to chill.
When your survival is at stake, we have how many thousands and thousands and thousands of years of genetic encoding to keep the body alive.
Yeah.
Survival of the species. Your survival, that first chakra right there at the base of the spine, I mean, that is, I mean, you always say it, 3, first chakra first, right? Yeah. And if your survival is threatened, your first chakra will blow open, set off the alarm bells, and your nervous system will fire. And I was sitting there like, oh my goodness, I am going to die.
Right.
This kid, like, I mean, totally incapable Japanese kid, mothered him way too much. He had no clue how to like bathe himself. I mean, I was like, oh my goodness, I have to teach you. Oh, wow. You know, I like called my friend and I was like, dude, you've messed up. Hey. That's a very Japanese thing, is to over provide for your sons. And this is why women in Japan are not marrying anymore, because they don't want to marry a child. You know, and it is actually being addressed out there that, you know, like if you cook, clean, you know, wipe your son's ass, you know, like you have just created an unmarriable human, you know, and it's a huge movement out there in Japan. So I mean,
Japanese dudes.
Yeah, no, they're useless. You know, I mean, I love my father. He's 88. You know, like.
I'm going to bring us back.
So I want to give you some grace, because when your survival alarm bells are firing, because you are in an actual, like, I could in an accident situation.
A kid is driving a vehicle.
For all my BPI students, 3 is using neutrality incorrectly. You will not be neutral in that moment.
No, I know. But my point was like, I know my emotion. I know all my energy is cray. You know, and I'm like, and I know that I'm not going to get not cray.
And what you were using correctly is your bubble.
Yeah. So I'm like, I just want to not have my energy spill everywhere.
I'm going to keep it right here. Right. And then that's my practice with that little Japanese kid, you know, and also like, I don't think I want to miscarry here. Right. I tried really hard to get pregnant at 41.
Like, I'm not going to turn off fight or flight right now. I'm not going to turn off my fear. I'm not going to turn off my anxiety. It's all firing. But I can, like, can I keep this from spilling out onto her while she's driving?
Yes. And that is that bubble, right? And I love that, because that's the more advanced practice is, you know, most students come in and it's all about, I want to get rid of everybody else's stuff, right? Yeah. And you start to mature a bit in this practice and you go, oh, wait, I don't want to spew onto other people. Right? Yeah. And so
that's going to be messy sometimes, because I'm human, and I'm going to try to contain the mess.
And can you keep it in your bubble? Right. And that's the actual visual actual concrete practice that Mel Robbins is intellectually spouting. How do I let me?
Yeah. How do I get to be me?
I've only seen her on social media a few times. I haven't actually read the book, but I got the premise, let them, let me, right? You know, you let me by putting yourself in a bubble.
Right.
I always talk about this, and I love this moment in BPI history when we had this graduation party. So we do graduation parties when people graduate, and the graduates get to say a few things to their classmates, those that are coming behind them, and offer some words of wisdom or some deep learning. And I'll never forget this one student who said, you know, a very anxious person, less and less with years and years of this practice. But she said, you know, my whole life, I've just been so busy wasting my energy putting everybody else in bubbles so I can feel safe, so I don't have to be anxious.
Mm-hmm.
And who knew? All I had to do was come to Boulder Psychic Institute and learn. I just need to put myself in a bubble.
Right. That's what a boundary is. It's about you.
I mean, and like all the students were like,
Right.
Yeah, beautiful moment. So if you don't know how to put yourself in a bubble,
you're going to need it when your teenager starts driving.
Yeah. But yes, I'm going to say as I wrap up this live, 99% of you, 99.9% of the time, that anxiety is not yours. You don't need to do anything with it. Just let it go. Your anxiety is manageable when it's 100% your energy. You can change your vibe. The only thing you can change is yourself, your energy.
Yeah.
Right? So just start to let it go, let it go, let it go. When you actually do experience your own anxiety, it's going to be a cakewalk. Trust me. I've been kind of gearing up to get on stages with bigger audiences, and some anxiety pops up, right? Very different experience for me after 30 years of this BPI practice than what it would have been like, and what it was like when I did attempt it, 10, 15 years ago and said, no, I'm not getting on stages. No, I'm not doing that. Right? Very manageable now.
When it is yours, you can learn from it, deal with it,
Yeah.
It is manageable. When it's the whole collective vibe, it's not.
Yeah, and a little secret for those of you psychic students out there who are watching, your amygdala gland registers anxiety and excitement in the same location, right? So if you're a psychic student and you're having a lot of anxiety and you know it's not yours, clean out that spot. It might even turn into enthusiasm.
Yay.
Yeah. I am teaching a menopause, perimenopause, class, right? Are you hot and bothered?
Mm-hmm.
Moody, what was the title 3? Something like that.
Hot and bothered and not in the mood?
Not yet. Hot, bothered, not in the mood, right? I'm teaching a class on some psychic tools for working with that energy. And men are invited because I want y'all to learn ways that you can even work with your own energy to support the women that you love in your life. So all are welcome. If you want to know about it, you got to sign up for our newsletter. Okay.
You have the link. You want to put it in there?
Yeah, I don't have the link. I can grab it. Thanks, 3. Sign up for our newsletter because that's where you find out about our free pop-ups. That's how you find out about these lives and what we're offering. You get a monthly calendar, all the links to sign up for all the cool things, free healings, reduced rate readings here at the Boulder Psychic Institute. And then every Saturday, 3, who is an amazing writer, puts out a teaching article, newsletter, with a certain topic and how you can start to reframe it or look at things differently. And then sometimes there's even a meditation prompt in there. So sign up for that newsletter. If anything, catch some of 3's brilliance on our Saturday ones that get sent out. Okay.
I put the links in your chat because I can't post them.
Oh my, that's
I
so
know.
silly.
I know,
All
it
right.
doesn't let me post them. Yeah, our master classes that we teach for free, we do one roughly every other month. You learn about them in the newsletter. It's really fun. It's an hour and a half to 2 hours lecture plus meditation and tools. And then Miwa's really generous with the Q&A at the end. You know, people ask all kinds of questions, and it's a great little midday break to come take a free class from us.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Gauge.
Anxiety, probably not yours.
You don't have to hold it all.
Just get rid of it. Just get rid of it.
Yeah. Good. That was fun. We had questions. That was great.
Yeah. Thanks for interacting. I appreciate that. That actually
You
really
always like questions. You can email us questions too.
enriched it. Yes. All right. My best advice is to look out for number 1 and don't ever step in number 2.
Har.
All right. Cool. Thank you, everyone. Happy Friday. Enjoy your weekend.